Alright, Mr. Claxton's Algebra 1 CP, Algebra 1, or Algebra 2 CP for that matter. We are graphing exponential functions again. I have graphed these two so far. Let me go ahead and delete that ruler there. I was trying to use that to draw a straight line at first. These are exponential functions. We see exponential growth here. It's growing exponentially. We know it shoots up very steep. Okay, at an exponential rate. That's what that means. We have exponential decay here in green. It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller from left to right, just like you read a book. Getting smaller, decay. Should mean something to you. You know that this one is going to be growth. Okay, it's not going to be growing at as great of a rate as this 7 raised to the x power, but it will be growing nonetheless. And you know how to make a table in order to do that. What I really want to graph with you is 2 to the x power. Okay, f of x, this is the function, 2 raised to the x. And that f of x could be a y as well. Get used to using that. I've picked my table of values here, and some people say they pick them randomly. In this case, I selected them in order, right? -4, -3, -2, -1. You should really never pick them randomly. I always like there to be a method to my madness, whether I'm picking all evens or all odds. That's going to help me to pick up any pattern here in the dependent variable or the y variable as well. If I have a pattern over here, it'll help me to see a pattern here a lot better. So what happened here is I had 2 to the -4th power first. You know that 2 to the -4th can be written as a fraction, right? 1 over 2 to the 4th, which is 1/16. And 1/16, we know it's that as a decimal. I know it's less than a tenth. I know it's just close to 0. So that's basically all we get out of this, is that it is close to 0. Notice how I went by 1s on the x-axis. I should have labeled my axes there. And I went by 2s on my y-axis. You are allowed to do that. It's just going to change slightly the way that the graph looks as far as its scale is concerned, right? So what's happening here? I'm graphing at -4, f of -4, or f at -4. Whoa, Mr. Claxton, -4. F at -4 here is going to be really close to 0. You know, I know that's going to be. Well, let's go ahead and graph in a different color. Let's go ahead and graph in this nice green color right here, right? I just know that's going to be really close to the x-axis. At -3, that's the same as 2 to the -3rd, which is 1/8. I know that 1/8 is 0.125. By the way, I figured all these out as fractions first, and then I worked my way back up. You are smarter than a calculator. So at -3, we have 1/8. All right, let's just go ahead and put a little plot right there. Next, 2 to the -2 power is 1/4. That's the same as 0.25. All right, finally something somewhat substantial there. Not as substantial as I like it, though. 2 to the -1 is -1/2. So understand here, these aren't exact. I'm just kind of I'm putting these here more or less to show you this should really start here. I didn't even need really all these in between. It's going to start here. It's going to cross obviously here at the 1. I mean, I really don't even need all of those values in between. They're going to make me look a little bit less organized. So I really don't need these. They're going to just complicate the matter. I am showing you that they can be there. You can have them in there. I'm going to draw it without it because it kind of helps me. It helps me to draw using this hardware that I'm doing. 2 to the 1st power is 2. Oh, finally, there we go, Mr. Claxton. There's something substantial. All right. 2 to the 2nd power is 4. Oh, even better, Mr. Claxton. Make that point. All right. 2 to the 3rd power, you know that's 8. You know it. And then 2 to the 4th power, 16. Nice. Make sure you're going straight up there. Alright, so now I have something here uh, that I can graph. Look at that. Boy, it really took shape. I know it's going to go forever in that direction, approaching that x-axis. That's an arrow on the end of that there, just in case you were wondering. And then it's going to follow very, very, very close to 0. Crosses right there at 1, and then it starts its rise. Its rise slow, and then extremely steep. And I'm going to go ahead and stop there because that is one of the best exponential growth functions that I've ever drawn, and you are the first to witness it here because you're paying attention. Alright, so notice how this is the graph of f of x equals 2 raised to the x power. We're going to now use this as a baseline, right? This is our green graph. We're going to refer back to this green graph for the rest of this homework assignment. Take a look at these. Okay, so this is 2 to the x plus 1. What's going to happen here is every single y value that I had is just going to be increased by 1. Okay, so that's my baseline. I really don't have to regraph it if I have a firm understanding of what f of x equals 2 raised to the x. Or we could just call this y equals 2 raised to the x. This is it. I know that each one of these y values I'm just going to add 1 to. So that's going to be 1.0625, 1.125, 1.25, 1.5, 2, 3, 5, 9, and 17. Look at that. So I already have all those. I can make that table. Someone would say lickety-split, right? I can make it very quickly. So that's what you want to do here. You want to make your tables very quickly. I'm not going to do that for you. I'm going to encourage you to do that. But understand, I'm just going to make a quick table. I might even make it here below, or if you're doing it, maybe on a separate sheet. And then you're going to list those values. And you don't have to use, certainly you don't have to use all those values, but just know that all those y values are just, they're growing by only 1. That's going to help you to graph this. Okay, if you want to use, by the way, if you want to scale it differently, okay, I'm not opposed to you just scratching that out, you know, with your pencil and writing a new value on this side. You know, if you want to call that 4 instead, be my guest. Okay, be my guest. Get creative. Okay, get creative. Be efficient. Okay, I appreciate hard work. What I'm finding out is it's just as important to learn how to work smart instead of working hard. You learn how to work hard first, though. Now, how is this one going to change it? Wow, all those powers now. It's the power. It's 2 raised to the x plus 1. So whatever x is, oh boy, that is actually going to change the way it looks. So I would have to draw a new table here to figure that one out. I would draw some lines, or draw my table, and I'm going to draw several points there to figure that one out. Okay, and then you just do the work. You have your independent variable and your dependent variable. Okay, and then show your work there off the side. Boy, that is not a straight line at all. Show your work there off the side. And pick some values that you think are going to work nicely. And then we have 6. Oh boy, 6. So I have to follow my order of operations. I got to take 2 raised to the x power first. And then I'm just going to multiply that value by 1. Now wait a second, you may be saying, Mr. Claxton, come on now. Come on now. That's the same graph. Okay. And if you already graphed it, well, I'm sorry, but I'll give you that hint. But now you have to graph it on here. And again, you can change that scale. You can get that scale out of there and have a different one. I hope this has helped you. In the rest of the assignment, you know that f of 2, we get a little function notation here. F of 2 means you just plug a 2 in for x. All that is 1/2 raised to the second power. 1/2 raised to the second power. And that's the only work that I have to show before I say, oh, I know that's 1/4. I am smarter than a calculator. Anything raised to the 0 power is 1. I don't even need to show work for that one. I know that is f of 0, or f at 0 is equal to 1. Okay, f of -1. Ooh, that's like the inverse. So I know that's going to be 1/2 raised to the -1 power. Remember what I can do there. I can write the reciprocal and have that be raised to a positive power, which is just 2 would be my final answer. And then f of negative 2, you're going to do the very same thing. Okay? You're going to take 1 over 2. And I'll go ahead and go through the process here. Again, I can flip everything in those parentheses, and that is a reciprocal, ladies and gentlemen. That is a reciprocal. It's not like what we were doing in the last section. Okay? This is a reciprocal here because it's in that group. Okay? It's grouped together. And look at that. That's going to be 4. Okay? So you should be able to do these down here pretty quickly. And you didn't have to do 15 and 16 last night. I saved you that, but we'll be doing that when we start class tomorrow. I hope this 10 minutes has been very, very beneficial in helping you to complete the homework.